Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of the tutorial to build a recruitment SaaS application. So in the last session, what we did was we created the recruiter portal where somebody could create a job. So I'm just starting from there. So this is the application that we created, and there are a couple of things that I added after the session, which is the edit and delete buttons. So if I add a job detail, right? So if, let's say, software engineer with some compensation, right, and work. So I added a field for adding relevant skills, like what are the a kind of skills which are required, right? So let's say backend and full stack. So these are keywords that an HR or whoever is creating this job description can add over here, and then you click on add job details. Once that is done, that becomes that comes as a job, right? So now what we are going to today is we are going to build the job seeker part of the portal, which will be a different Flutterflow project. So I've already set up the project. How to set up the project, etc. You can refer to the first session. It is in a very similar manner how we set up the recruiter portal, right? So this is this is the job seeker version of the portal where I've already done some basic settings over here. And in the settings, I just want to show you the Firebase is connected to the same project, right? So if we look at this, if you see, it is called Recruiter-job seeker, whereas the other project was Recruiter-recruiter, right? So over here, in Firebase, it was connected to this Recruit project, which is the same project which is connected to the job with the job seeker application as well. So it is basically two different Firebase Flutterflow projects which are connected to the same Firebase database. All right. So the reason to do this is that I want to keep the logins or the user interface completely separate for job seeker and recruiter. I've already created a sign up page which is very similar to how we did in the recruiter version, so I'm not going to go through that again. I've also created the collection structure, which is the same collection structure because we have a common Firebase database. The collection structure needs to be exactly the same. So we have a users collection, we have a job listing and applications, right, which is the same as what we had created in case of the recruiter project, which is, if I go to these collections, you can see users, job listing and applications over here. Just be very careful, it needs to exactly match what has been created or what is live in database or in the Firebase database, because even if you make errors with spelling or capitalization, it will not work properly. All right. So now the first step that we are going to do is that using in the job seeker portal, we are going to fetch the applications. Sorry, we are going to fetch the job listing, and then we are going to create a field or a form to submit applications for that. Right. So let's go ahead and do that. So we are going to do that on the home page itself. So here's we go to the column. I will actually replace this with a container, right, and expand this and then add a column, and in the column we'll give a headline. After the headline, we want to show the different job listings, right? So I'm going to put a container over there. In the container, again, I'll put a list view. Right, so this container width would be 100%. Height, I will give something like 500 pixels. And in the list view, we want to show different jobs that are there, right? So we can select predefined cards which are available in Flutterflow template. So we'll just go to the card views, and we'll select any one of them. So we selected this one for showing jobs on the recruiter portal, so we are going to select the same one over here. And on the container, we are going to query all the job listings that are there. So as of now, I'm going to just show all the job listings that are available, right? Later on, based on the user and based on reference to the recruiter, we can add some filters to filter the job listings that we want to show to this particular user. But as of now, I'm not going to add any of those filters. I'm just putting a query to query all the job listings that are there, right? So I do this confirm. Now in list view, I have to go and create children for which for each of these job listings. So job list, and this will link to the job listing documents and save. So it gave me the message that now it will create dynamic children, like I had shared that in the first session itself, that whenever we link list view or page view to a query, it creates children, right? And which we can fetch dynamically from a collection, a list of Firebase documents. Right, so this is now linked with the job listing. So I have no purpose of this icon, so I'm going to delete this icon. The headline, I'm going to link it to the job title. So you now see that as we create the list view, it created this thing called job list item. This is showing the same variable which when we created this children. If we go back over here, you see this variable name job list. It is showing me the same variable, so that you know which one you have to refer to and which one you have to link. Okay, so now I go to this text and go to the job list item, which denotes a single item within that, and we link the job title over here. Right, now this text below, I want to link to the description. So again, I go to the item and I link to the description. And maybe I want to show the compensation as well, right? So I'll go to this particular row, and I'm going to change this to call it compensation. And in this row, instead of text and icon, I'm only going to keep text, and this text will get linked to the compensation of the role. Now this is too big, so I'm going to reduce the size to body large, right? So it will show the compensation, it will show job title, and it is going to show me the description. It may not look the best in terms of UI, but it is fine for now. And you can always work on the UI once all the configurations are done. Now, if this particular list view is providing information of the job, but you don't want to just provide information of the job, you want to allow the users to be able to apply to the job. So we will look how to do that particular process, right? Okay, so now in this text, we will just change it to list of jobs, list of available jobs, and this is like the headline. So I'm going to increase the font size to headline small. Okay, and in the column, I'm going to give some item spacing, so that whatever items are come in this column, there is some space between them. It does not look very cramped. Okay, now in this list view, in this card, we want to add a button which is for application, right? So we have this column in which we have name rating in one particular row, and then we have compensation, and then we have rating where we just have the text. So this might be sorry, rating is actually description for us, right? So let's change this to description, right? So, and this text is linked to description. So in the row itself, I'm going to add another button, right? Which I will call apply now. Right, so if a user wants to apply, he can click on the button. Now what will happen if you click on the button? We have to build that, right? So we will use the same concept what we used for creating a job. So we are going to create a component which will be called as a bottom sheet when somebody clicks on this button, and in that component we are going to take all the details of the user, right? So let's go to the list of pages in, and we go to this plus sign and we add a new component. So I'm going to create a blank component. Component name is application form. Create component. Now I go to this widget tree, I add a container over here, and in this container I will expand to 100% width and height maybe 400, and we'll see if it fits properly. We'll add a column to it, and in the column we are going to first give a header which is job application form, right? Now we for a user to be able to apply to this particular application, he needs to be applying to a particular job. So which means that we need to add the job reference document as a parameter on this component. So it can be either the job reference or it could also be the actual document as such, right? So we are going to add the job doc, right? So I'm just passing the document itself, and job listing document is being passed over here, right? Now in this column, up after this text we want to add a form. So if you remember in the first session how we added a form validation first, then we added a column, and then we are going to add the text fields. Right, so in this text field, the first thing that we would want to collect is maybe the name of the applicant, right? So I'm just going to go to the hint and edit name of the applicant. We duplicate this, and then we can so apart from the name we need the email ID, right? And we duplicate this again, then we would need a phone number, right? Then we will need a button to upload the CV, right? So let's put that in a row, okay? And I'm going to add a text over here. I'll tell you the purpose of the text later. But let me first add an icon button. This icon button will have an upload icon, right? And let's make this center align with some space in between, right? And so this we are going to um, add an upload action over here, right? Now we are going to also define a page state which says CV uploaded, right? So this is we are going to use that text area to denote whether CV is uploaded or not, right? So this is going to be a boolean, it will either be true or false. The initial value will be false. So if you see this over here, initial field value required, when you so you switch it on, then it becomes true. If you switch it off again, you see this red color, which means that it is false, right? So I'm setting the initial value of the variable CV uploaded as false, and I confirm this. And once I click on this icon button, I want to create the action of upload data, where I want to upload file, right? Upload type is something that I want to upload in Firebase. The file type is PDF, and the name of is, maybe we can call it CV PDF upload. Okay, so this is an action, but apart from doing that, I want to do a couple of other things, right? So once it is uploaded to file, I'm also going to update the page state that the CV is uploaded, right? Update sorry, component state, because we are working in a component. So CV uploaded is set value as true. Okay, so so now, so if you click on this and upload the PDF, then automatically it changes to true. And as it changes to true, I'm going to link this to a conditional value, where if it is, I'm going to link this to CV uploaded. If CV uploaded is true, then it should say CV uploaded. It otherwise it should say upload CV here. Okay, now I confirm this, right? So if I click on this and I upload the CV, it is going to get uploaded over here. Now once this part is done, I would want to like save. Now there are other things also that if you want, you can add like years of work experience, or their past company, etc. Those things you can add, but sort of CV takes care of those things, so I am not that interested in adding that right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a button of save application. Okay, so I'm going to call this save application, right? Now when I say save application, I need to create a Firebase document, create document of the collection type applications, job listing reference. So we need to refer to the job which against which this application is being added, right? So I go to this job listing and I get document property. I need to add the reference of this document, so I add this reference over here, right? Now what in the document, what are we creating? The applicant name, right? So we are going to link this to the variable. And okay, before linking, let me just rename these text fields so that it's easy for us to link. So I'm going to call this applicant name. This second text field, I'm going to call this email ID, and third text field I'm going to call as phone number, right? Now in this column and the button, again we go to applicant name and we go to widget state. So whenever a form is filled, it gets saved in widget state. You see applicant name, which we just set. So this is added, applicant phone number, right, from variable, and I'm going to again go to widget state and link it to the phone number. Applicant email ID, I'm going to add from variable, and I'm going to put this with the email ID. Add field, applicant CV URL. Now this is interesting. You uploaded the the CV, but over here in collection we need to add the URL of that particular CV, which is stored in Firebase, right? So where will you get that? Again, this is something that you will find in widget state. So whenever you add an upload button, it Flutterflow automatically gives you uploaded file URL, right? So this will give you the URL, the Firebase URL of that particular file, and that is what we need to save over here, right? So we have now saved the name of the applicant, email ID, phone number. The we uploaded the PDF, and when we saved application, then it is giving this uploaded file URL. Now, if I add another field, let's see what other fields are left. Only application status is left. That is not something that we are going to update over here, because application status is going to be updated by the recruiter, and we will see how that part is done. But that is not something that we are going to do over here. I'm just going to give an output name of this application saved. Okay. Um, all right, so now this application is saved, but there are other actions that we need to have. One is, once the application is saved, we need to add an action of update component state. Sorry, not update component state. We need to add of dismissing the bottom sheet, right? So we'll dismiss this bottom sheet. Now in this entire bottom sheet as well, we would want to give an option to be able to dismiss bottom sheet. So we are going to wrap this in a stack, and in the stack we are going to add an icon button, and the icon button will put it right aligned in the corner, and this will be with a close sign, and that action will be linked to dismiss the bottom sheet. All right, now we can give some padding to this, and this typically I like it when it is circular instead of it being square, so I've given it this shape. All right, so now we have this save column with these details. I'm going to give some item spacing to it, apply at start and end. So once somebody saves application, we are uploading it in the Firebase, and then we are dismissing this bottom sheet as well, right? So now let's see if it is working fine. Yeah, before testing, we need to link this application form to the page or the apply button that we created, right? So this is the main page title. Let's call it job board. Now this apply, now we are going to call the bottom sheet show, and in select component we are going to select application form, right? um, Now in the parameters job doc, we need to pass this job list item, so the entire document, whatever is in this item, is getting passed to that bottom sheet, right? Which is the most crucial thing, because then only it will link the application to this particular job. Okay, so we have now added details about the job. We have created a button which will open a form where I can put in my details related to the application, etc. Let's test this at this stage and see if it is working fine. Okay, great. So I'm already logged in over here. You see in the job board, I'm seeing list of available jobs. There's a graphic designer job or the software engineer job that was added in the recruiter portal, right? And if I, let's say I click on apply now, right? It opens up this job application form where I can create my application. So I can put a test name, right? Let's say a test ID, and I'm going to upload a CV, a sample CV of a computer science resume, right? So you see this change to CV uploaded as the uploading was done. It changed to CV uploaded, and then I'm going to click on save application, right? So I did save application. Now let's see if in Firebase an application was actually created. So we have job listings. This is the graphic designer job listing. And this is the software engineer job listing against which we created this application. So I go to this applications. We see that a document has been created. Now in this document we have these details of the applicant CV URL, applicant email ID, applicant name, and applicant phone number, right? So this is a way by which you can create these applications and all. Now, for each application, I don't want to stop here. There is something that we want to do processing using AI. So what we want to do that for each and every CV which is uploaded, we want to provide a score to the CV, right? Based on the list of skills that was uploaded for that job listing. So in this, if you see this list of skills of programming, backend, full stack, which was added, I want to evaluate this CV based on these pointers, if it is good or if it is bad, right? Now how to do that? When somebody uploads an PDF for send, we need to extract text out of it. It can be done in two ways. One is there are multiple APIs available of different tools where you can convert PDF to text, or you can create a backend cloud function, right? Or any other backend function which can be called as a REST API. So in this case, I already have a pre-built cloud function which I have integrated in Flutterflow. All right, so I'm just going to show you that. I'll go to the section of APIs, and you see there are two APIs which are added over here. One is the OpenAI API, which we will come to once we have to analyze the text. But there is another one which is PDF text conversion, right? So it is referring to a URL, which is a cloud function in my Google Cloud project. And in body, if you see, there is only one thing that I'm providing, which is the file. Now, before we integrate this in Flutterflow, it is a good practice to test it out on Postman. So, for example, over here, this URL I want to test, I'm going to, this is from an earlier test that I had done, so I'm going to remove this. I'm going to upload this file from my local machine. So I upload this basic resume, and I hit send. So once I hit send, you see I got some result over here. Status true means that it PDF was read successfully, and it has given me a text version of this particular CV where all the different details, although not formatted properly, but they have been given all together, right? Which is something that I can use later on for processing the CVs to using OpenAI, right? Now, if let's say I copy this text, I copy this text and I'm going to test another API call. So this was an API call which is to convert PDF, and we'll show how to integrate this in front end, right? But right now I'm going to show you another API call which is a part of this group open API. Now, how to import these API calls? It is done by a YAML file of OpenAI. If you want to go through more details, you can refer to my previous video that I had done on OpenAI integration to for image generation. There I take you through the details of how to integrate an OpenAI YAML file, etc., where you will get all these API calls ready made. You don't have to do a lot of work, right? So we have created a copy of this create chat completion, which we have called as create chat completion resume review, right? And we have there is an authorization required. In the body we are sending a message, right, where in the messages we are saying you are an HR evaluator, evaluate the provided resume text based on list of skills and return your evaluation strictly via designated function, etc. Okay, so in JSON format, right? And so in and as a user I am sending just one second. As a user, I'm sending evaluate this text, where resume text is a variable based on the skills needed, where key skills is also variable. The variables are defined over here in the same API call. You see API key auth as a string, resume text as a string, and key skills as a string. All three of them are defined, right? So I go back to the body. I have defined the model that I want to use, and I have also given a JSON schema of how I want the output, right? So if you, let's say you do not give this particular schema, ChatGPT sometimes takes its own liberty in deciding what the JSON format might be, and it may change from time to time, and that is not something that we want when we are going to link these JSON objects later on to our application. So I've defined very clearly that you need to send an object where there are two properties. One property is called rating, which is of integer type. I've given a description of it, that a score between 0 and 10, evaluating the quality of the resume based on the skills, and feedback, which is a string, and a description, which is a brief summary of the evaluation in 50 words only about the skills. And both of these parameters are required. So when we call this function, it is going to respond using this schema itself, right? Now if you have to test this in Flutterflow, you can by the way, you can also test this on Postman, but Flutterflow also provides an interface to test this. So if you have to test this, you fill in the variables manually over here, right? So in resume text, it already something is pasted, but I'm going to just paste the current CV that I copied, right? And I'm going to, let's say, evaluate. So I don't know what that CV was about, but let's say I'm going to evaluate that on software development and backend development, right? And I just hit this test API call. So now this request is going to ChatGPT, and there is a response that has come, right? So this is the JSON response that has come, where you can see that there are in this index, it has evaluated, and it has given these arguments of rating and feedback, rating of 4, and feedback that resume lacks specific examples of software and backend development skills, although it outlines a structure for experience and education, etc., right? So now that it has given us this thing in JSON format, we need to link this. Whenever we will provide this text in Flutterflow front-end application, we need to link this to the application, right? So Flutterflow gives you these predefined JSON paths which you can add and easily link to the front end, right? So let's say, so the main JSON path which is important for us is this, right? Which is the arguments that has come over here. So we are going to use this and we are going to say add JSON path, right? And this is resume feedback. All right. So the the JSON path that you see, which is the choices message dot function underscore call dot argument, right? The arguments of the function call, it is providing me this rating and feedback of the resume as per the instructions that were shared, right? But the problem is that it is giving me in string format with this rating and feedback written separately. So I cannot use this directly. I need to process this before I'm able to use the rating of 5 and feedback, the text feedback that is there separately. So for that we are going to use something called decoding stringified JSON, right? So I'm going to go to another very useful piece of Flutterflow, which is called custom functions, right? So this custom function, if you see the name of the custom function is decode resume feedback. The argument which we are entering into this function is a stringified JSON, and which is basically a string, and the return value we want is in the form of JSON. All right. Now, this small piece of code is something that I wrote using the Code Copilot. You see this option of Code Copilot. I just entered decode a stringified JSON and it gave me this result. And so we are going to test this function. I already have the stringified JSON pasted over here, which I got from the API call of the rating and the feedback, etc. Now, if I run it, we will see what kind of output we get. So you see, after the function is run, it is giving me an output in which no longer you see the slash etc., and it is giving me directly in the form of JSON, which I will be able to use in front end, right? By using dollar dot rating and dollar dot feedback, I will be able to use them directly directly to showcase the values wherever I want to show. Okay, so now what we did was we created three parts, right? First was an API call which was for PDF text conversion. Unfortunately, Flutterflow does not provide an option to upload PDF and test it over here, so we will have to test it in the front end integration itself. But I showed you how to do that in Postman. Second was the resume review call using chat GPT, and we did a response and test also, and we saved a JSON path dot arguments. Now to convert this argument to a JSON that we can use directly, we created a custom function, right, which is decode resume feedback to get the rating and feedback. Right now we are going to integrate these in the front end. So let's see how to do that. So we had this apply now button, right? We will open the action tree. So what over here it is doing is calling the application form bottom sheet. So we are going to go to the bottom sheet of application form. When somebody clicks on save application, it creates this document, right, with applicant name, phone number, email ID, CV URL, which we saw, and then it dismisses the bottom sheet. Now what we want to do is, apart from these details, we also want to process the CV and get the feedback rating and the subjective feedback, right? So I'm going to add an action over here. First of all, I need to convert the PDF to text, right? So I'm going to call the API. PDF text conversion, set additional variable name is uploaded PDF, and this is the PDF which we have, right? So so now this is a problem here is that we have the PDF in the form of a URL. We do not have the PDF in the form of bytes, right? So we'll have to get that in the form of bytes so that we are able to convert that into this into text version. Okay, so let's see, we are going to make some changes over here, and instead of over here, instead of saving the file, we will look at bytes. So we'll close this, and this upload button, where we uploaded file to Firebase, you see there was an upload type of Firebase where we were creating the Firebase link directly. So instead of that, we are going to change this to local upload, which is in the widget state. In this case, it will save the bytes of the PDF in widget state, right? And update component state, which is CV uploaded, that is fine, right? Now when somebody does save application, first of all, I'm going to remove this CV URL, because no longer it will, you see already it is showing an error because it is not getting that URL, right? So I'm just going to update these three details: applicant name, applicant phone number, applicant email ID over here. I'm going to move this function of PDF text conversion upwards, where in this uploaded PDF I'm going to link it to the uploaded PDF using widget state. So now you can see this option of uploaded local file, because it is now in the form of bytes and not in the form of a Firebase URL, right? So I'm going to upload this local file over here, and this it will basically give me the resume text. So I'm going to call this as the resume text, right? And and then this resume text is something that we will pass for the API call that we will do using ChatGPT. But before that, I would like to do a conditional, right? So what the conditional is basically to check whether this PDF text conversion was a success or not, right? So resume text API response succeeded, right? So resume text API, this thing, it succeeded or not. If only it succeeded, then only we'll get the text. Otherwise, we are going to see some error, right? So we will not get that text from the PDF. So we add an action over here, which is to call the API of ChatGPT, right? So in the group, we need to select create chat completion, resume review, and additional variable is basically resume text, right? And we need to link it to the resume text that we just got from the API response. So in this API response, we will get the JSON body from that JSON path. Now we have to define where it will be in the JSON path. So if we go back to Postman and we see what is the JSON path over here, you will see there's a status, there's a message, and there's this data. So this data is what is capturing this text, right? So in this data, this text part is where this entire CV text is visible, right? So I'm going to link it to that. So dot data dot text, right? No further changes. confirm. So so this is the resume text that I'm passing, and over here I'm going to set additional variable, which is the API auth key. This is, I have already saved it in the app state, the OpenAI key, right? And I'm just linking this OpenAI key over here. The third variable is this key skills, right? So this key skills is again something that we will need to process, because we have the key skills have been added in the document in the form of list, right? So if we get this document property and we see this list of skills, right? So there are a list of skills which we cannot pass as string directly, right? So we need to create a small, either a code expression or small function to sort of combine these list of skills into one string, right? So we'll just put that command in ChatGPT and see what is the result over here. Okay, so basically the input is a list of strings, and output, I want the strings together separated by comma, right? Okay, so it is giving me Python, which I don't want. Please give me Flutter code for the above, preferably as a single line, single code. So you see, it is giving me some of this function, which is input list dot join, and it is giving me these that using these quotes and comma, we can join them. So we are going to just take this, and we are not going to write a separate function. We are going to use something which is called a code expression. Okay, so over here I am going to enter a code expression. The argument over here in code expression, like argument is the input, is a list of strings, right, which is list of skills, and this will get linked to the list of skills that we get from the document. Okay, so we confirm this, and return type is a string, and we want to use this input list dot join, but over here we have this as list skills, so we will call this list skills dot join, and with this quotes, etc., and we check for errors. So it's showing no errors, which means it is working fine, and so we'll confirm this, right? So we have added the key skills, we added the API key auth, and we added the resume text, and all these three together will help us in getting a response of the resume feedback, right? So resume API response. Okay, so already it has added a conditional over here whether it is succeeded or not. So if it has succeeded, then we do get the we get the rating, etc. But like I mentioned, that we need to extract the rating and the feedback from using the code expression, right? Using the function. So we are going to first of all add an action. Now this rating and feedback we actually want to update in the application itself. right? So I'll just close this. I don't think we have created those as fields within application, right? So we are going to add over here something called CV rating, and this will be an integer, and we are going to add something called CV feedback, which will be a string, right? Now we go back to this save application, we open this. Once we have the response, we are going to update the document, right? So did we create the document ever? No, we have not created. So actually this create function is something that we are going to copy over here and paste it here. I'm going to delete this. So we create this document with the applicant name, phone number, email ID. Now I'm going to add other fields also. Right now I'm not going to add CV URL, but I'm going to add the CV rating, right, which will be from a variable, and this variable is will be with using a custom function. In the custom function we are going to, so this is the same custom function which we showed earlier, which is to decode resume feedback, right? So we are going to link this to the resume or the output that we are getting from the API. So this is resume API response, and from the JSON body we just take the predefined path first, right? And the predefined path is the resume feedback. So we are if you remember, we defined this predefined path in over there when we created the API call. So what this function will do is it will take this predefined JSON path, which is the stringified JSON of rating and feedback, and it will convert it to a JSON object, right? So so we confirm this, right? So now so this is actually a JSON object that we are getting from here. So it is not CV rating. So we need to add one more layer where it is we are updating the rating over here, right? So this is dollar dot rating is something that we are going to update for CV rating. Okay, so again repeating this, we use the function to convert the stringified JSON to a JSON object which is giving me rating and feedback, and on that we applied this dollar dot rating path so that I'm going to get only rating from here, right? And that will be saved as CV rating. Now I add field, I will select the CV feedback. I'm going to copy this variable and I'll paste the variable over here. To make just one change, instead of this rating, I'm going to make this dollar dot feedback. And to revisit this dollar dot rating and feedback, I will just go back to the function so that you are able to see that clearly, right? So I go back to this test function where this was the rating and feedback, and when we ran this function, if you remember, we got a JSON object with rating and feedback shown separately, right? So dollar dot rating is actually going to give me the value 4, dollar dot feedback is going to give me this value of the subjective text that we have, right? So now going back to that action tree, right? So we created a document with all these different fields that are there. I'm going to delete this create document, which was done earlier, and then we are dismissing the bottom sheet. Now if you see on false, I have not added any error messages etc as of now, but ideally we need to add some message that API failed or resume not reviewed, something like that, so that we are able to test it properly. But in interest of time, I'm not adding those conditions as of now, right? Um, so one thing that we have not done till now is uploaded the PDF to Firebase. You remember we changed the PDF upload to bytes, which means that it is locally saved on the application or the browser, but it is not saved in Firebase yet. And that is something that we will need because recruiters would want to access that application, right? So what we are going to do is, we are in the action flow editor of the save application, and after PDF text conversion, we are going to add another action of upload file. This time we will select as Firebase, and file type will be uploaded file, because we do not want to upload it again. We just want to refer it to the file that was uploaded earlier. So we are going to take this from widget state, which is uploaded local file 1, right? And we will confirm this. This we will give it a name of let's say PDF URL, right? So now we have uploaded the file to Firebase and we got a URL, but we also need to save this URL link in the database. So when we are creating the application document, we need to save this database. Now here, one problem can happen, which is that sometimes this upload takes some time. It could be some milliseconds or it could be a second of time to upload the CV to Firebase. Now, if I try to add that URL into this document before that upload has happened, there is a chance of error, or there is a chance that it will not get recorded. So I need to check first whether this upload was successful. Only then I will update it in the document that I'm creating, right? So how to do that? We are going to create a loop. Okay, so over here I'm going to add loop, and in this condition, um, uh, Flutterflow already provides, so is so which is related to uploading. So you see there are two conditions that are coming: is data uploading 1 and is data uploading 2. This particular action is pertaining to is data uploading 2, so we are going to select this. So in this loop it is going to check if this data is uploaded. If not, we are going to add a wait of 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds, right? And we are going to move this, or rather we'll move this action after this loop of creating this document. So this document is not going to get created till this data is uploaded. So that's the check that we are doing over here. All right, and if it is not uploaded, it will wait for 2 seconds and then go back, check whether it is uploaded. Again, if it is not, again it will keep on going till the loop, in the loop till this data is uploaded, and then it will move forward. Now in this create document, we'll add the field of the URL, which is the applicant CV URL. We have to link it from variable. This will again be in the widget state, and we can see uploaded file URL 2, right? So this is something that we are adding. So now when we are creating the document, we have the name, we have phone number, we have email ID, we have CV rating, we have CV feedback, and the applicant CV URL. So let's see if this is working fine. Again, if you look at the action tree, what we did was we converted the PDF to text. We uploaded the PDF to Firebase. Then we checked if the text conversion is successful. On on that success, we then sent it to ChatGPT to get the rating and feedback, and then we checked whether the file was getting uploaded or not. And if it was uploaded, then in document we updated the rating, feedback, on all the other details that we have, right? So let's see if this is working fine or not. right? We will this run this. So already a run mode is on. I'm going to reload this. So let's say I want to apply for this graphic designer job. I click over here in job application, name of the applicant. I'm just writing a test email ID. I upload the CV. So I'm just going to upload a computer science CV to this and save application. All right. So the application was done. Now, ideally, we would want to show some message that your application has been submitted, etc., which we have not done as yet, but that is something that we can do. But let's check in Firebase if this application was successfully saved, right? So we go to Firebase. You see we are in the job listing of that graphic designer where these details are there, and here is the applications detail. There is an application that has come, and in the application you can see um, details about the applicant. So it gave a CV rating of 6, and it is writing the resume demonstrates solid project management and technical skills, although lacks specific experience in Photoshop, Canva, or user interface design. So these were the list of skills that were being checked. The candidate has a strong educational background but could further emphasize relevant design tools and projects to align better with design skills. So, which means that the candidate in general is good, but he or she does not have these skills, right? And this is the email ID that got captured, test4@gmail.com, right? So now in the application, what till now what we have done is on recruiter side in the first session we created the application to for recruiters to create jobs, right? On the job seeker side, we created application where users are able to see all the jobs, they are able to apply, and after application, we are also getting it processed with the help of ChatGPT or OpenAI to get feedback and rating, and we are capturing that in a sub collection for that particular job listing, right? The next step is that we go back to the recruiter application, and there we will show this data as and when applications are coming in, so that recruiters can see that new applications have come in, and if they can evaluate it and then mark the status as either shortlisted or move to next round, etc. So that would be the concluding session, although in the overall application there are many other things that can be done, but we will conclude by doing that integration, which will be the third and last session for this series.